Hello and welcome to Healing Womanhood. My name's Saffron and today we are continuing our discussion about anxiety. So last week we did some tapping from anxiety to peace. We brought in all kinds of strategies that you might have encountered before elsewhere about bringing us back into the present moment, reconnecting us with our senses and lowering that nervous system response to bring us into a place of calm. And these techniques are really, really effective and really positive at bringing us to a place of peace, bringing us to a place of calm, which is what we want when we're in anxiety. However, from an internal family systems perspective, our anxiety comes from a part of us. And when we bring in these techniques that calm our nervous system, that bring us back into our senses, what we're actually doing is pushing that part aside and saying there's no room for you here. From an internal family systems perspective, that's not necessarily helpful. So another thing that we can do, and this might be an approach that's more effective with a practitioner, I'd advise you to be careful about using this approach on your own, particularly if you feel that there's any risk that you might become overwhelmed by your anxiety. But the other thing that we can do is turn towards that part and hear it out. So in internal family systems, what we're doing is hearing out our parts. So I'll say a little bit more about what parts are. It might be language that you already use in your own life. Oh, a part of me feels like this and a part of me feels like that. If there's any kind of internal conflict going on, it's between different parts of you. If you've experienced self-sabotage, that's a part of you that's doing that. So anxiety is another part that we can have. And I won't go into all of the different types of parts, but it's worth reading up around internal family systems if you're interested, because it's fascinating. And so today we're going to do some tapping to turn towards that anxious part. And as I say, you might want to do this with a practitioner, you might want to do it with a compassionate friend on hand. If you feel that it's going to overwhelm you, please just leave it for now and do get in touch with me and we can do some sessions around that. If you're feeling like you want to continue, if you're able to take full responsibility for what the emotions that come up as we do this, then let's begin tapping. So tapping on the side of the hand. And all you need to do is tap where I'm tapping and repeat what I'm saying. And we're going to begin by saying, even though I have this anxious part, and sometimes it overwhelms me, I'm ready to love all parts of me now. Even though a part of me feels anxious, and that part scares me, I wish I didn't have it. And that's okay. And I'm okay. And I choose to love and accept all of myself exactly as I am. Even though I have this anxious part, I choose to love and accept myself exactly as I am. Lovely. And then onto the eyebrows. So that's our next point. I have this anxious part. Sometimes it feels too much for me. I wish I didn't have this part. This part sometimes takes the lead. And then I find that I'm governed by anxiety. This part of me, I get quite frustrated with it. I sometimes wish I didn't have an anxious part. And I wonder if there's a way to see this differently. This anxious part is part of me. And I'd like to understand all of the parts of me. I have a lot of resistance to this part. But I wonder how it would feel to turn towards this part. To hear what it has to say. To understand where it's coming from. Not to be governed by it. Not to be overwhelmed by it. But to look at it as a frightened child. To listen to its fears. And to reassure it. To let it know that I'm capable. To let it know that it's safe. I wonder how I could give this part some space. To express all of its feelings. Inviting this part to share with me all that it's been through. Anything that might be scaring it. Turning towards this part with love and compassion. Returning to leadership of myself. And allowing this part to speak. Take a deep breath. Now get a journal, pause the video and write down anything that's coming through from that part. So it might be that that part has heard what you said and is ready to speak to you and is ready to say, this is why we need to be anxious, this is my perspective. If that's the case, get a journal, write all of that down, hear that part out. Again, not to do as it's telling you, but just to reassure it and let it know that you are calm and you're in charge and you've got this and you're confident. It may be, on the other hand, that you didn't get any response from that part. And that can sometimes happen when our parts don't really feel ready to trust us just yet. So if we've been using those calming strategies or pushing that part aside in one way or another for a long time, that part might think, nah, she's not ready to listen to me. She's not got my best interests at heart. She can't handle this. And that's okay too. Sometimes we need to do a little bit more work to get those parts on side. And if that's the case for you, you can make this into a regular practice and you can sit with that part and just let it know that you're there. Let it know that you're ready to listen. And sometimes we can get a visual on those parts, so you might see it as a character. It might look human, it might look like you, it might look not like you, it might be an animal, it might be an inanimate object or an animate version of an inanimate object. So we can see our parts in all kinds of different ways. And when we spend time with that anxious part, we often find that we can get it on side and we can start to calm it. In those moments of anxiety, we can come back into what we call self-leadership. So we consider the self to be the calm, confident part at the centre, the part that's not feeling anxiety, that's not worried, that has it together. And we all have this. It might feel quite deeply buried for some of us, but we all have this at our core, this self-leadership. So when we notice that anxiety begins to lead, we can return to that self part. We can use that self part to turn, well, it's not a part, it's the self. We can use that self to turn towards the anxiety and say, what do you need? What do you need me to know? And then we can reassure that anxiety that everything is under control and that we've got this and that we're able to deal with the situation. So let me know how that little exercise went for you. If you want to do some more work on that with me, I would really love to hear from you. You can get a free half-an-hour call with me, so get in touch for that. And repeat as often as you need to. It can be really interesting to see what happens when we turn towards these parts for the first time that we've spent a long time pushing aside. And I hope that it was helpful to you. I'll see you next time.